It's 2001. Our guest is on a mission to win a state championship for Woodford County. And he succeeds. He beats a no-name wrestler from Prestonsburg. If you would, introduce yourself.
My name's Tyler Baldwin, graduated 2002, two-time state champion for Woodford County. Just blessed to be able to wrestle for the coaches that we've had, Coach Parks, Coach Carr. Just came from being a baseball player or soccer player to coming into a wrestling community and bam, focused on it.
Now that's a perfect segue for what I was going to ask you is when you're in school, Woodford County's rolling. You got names like, Joe Carr, Ian Horn, Chris Dunn, all these guys coming through. Does any of those guys come to you and recruit you like, hey, be on the wrestling team, or you just want to be a part of something, or how does that work?
No, it actually worked out kind of weird. A friend of mine, one of my best friends back in the day, Kyle Lugers, Ryan Lugers was a state champion. So his younger brother, they moved here from Odessa, Texas. And we were in class together, and I said, hey, man, you want to ride bikes and do all this after school? And he said, no, I've got wrestling practice. And I said, what's that? And he said, come on.
I got you.
And then his dad was a well-known, he was on one of the first teams of the Ohio State team. And so I would go, instead of hanging out at their house, we would go and wrestle at their house. So
that's awesome.
That's how I got into it. And, middle school, Coach Buck Stewart sent me, Kyle Lugers, and Matt Good to the high school wrestling room because he thought we needed more advancement. And we would wrestle for the high school all week and then go to middle school tournaments and do our thing.
So you started wrestling in middle school, right?
It was the summer after my 6th grade year. Yes.
Okay, so you got 6 years of the Woodford County, being in Woodford County's wrestling program, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now, let's kind of get to your high school career. 1999, Woodford wins the state championship. Were you on that team?
I was on the team, but I was not a starter.
Okay, but you were still, though, in the program.
Yep.
And in 2000, Woodford wins state championship as well. Were you?
Right there, we battled back and forth between who was going to start at our weight class because we had that many people, and the program was so big that you had 3 or 4 guys in a weight class that could be top 6 in state.
And it harkens me back to if you don't know how it goes, and I'm not sure how. Of course, we'll talk about this. Like if you've seen the movie Vision Quest, there's these things about wrestling called wrestle-offs, and they're usually on Monday. I know when I had to wrestle the same guy every week for every Monday for the varsity 112 spot when I wrestled. And if you've never seen Vision Quest, you need to watch it. It's a great wrestling movie, but whoever wants to sign up or be the varsity that week, if there's more than one, you wrestle.
We wrestled. We had wrestle-offs every day.
Oh, did you?
Until it was time to go to a tournament. And then there were some times that we would also meet in a tournament because our JV team would send a squad up to WCI, South Oldham, all that. And there was a chance that we were going to meet in the quarters, semis, or finals.
And I think you guys called it, is it Woodford Black, Woodford Gold, Woodford White? That's what I thought. And I remember, and even now refereeing, you'll see, not all the time with the full team, but you'll see, Woodford Black, Woodford Gold, whatever. And that's cool that, you got 3, back then, 3 pretty much full varsity squads that could go out and, compete and all that. And
it was a crowded room.
I can imagine. Now, when you wrestled, was it the same room that we done the videos in with Cody and those guys? Okay.
Yeah, that room's never changed. I mean, it hadn't been updated since '77.
Oh my goodness!
Until Cody Lewis had Wriggles Sign Company coming in there and they redid everything as far as that. But it's the same room. That's been our mat room since back in the day. So. And
that's what's kind of cool is in Nick's video. We'll talk about Nick just in a second. But Nick Chafin's 2003 video, he talks about wrestling you, and you were pretty much an unknown because you're coming in as a junior as first year in varsity competition. But I mean,
I've wrestled varsity competition
well,
before that, but just as a JV wrestler.
I guess first year going to the state tournament,
Oh, yeah.
districts and regions, and then boom, you're in the state finals against him, or region finals and all this against him. So that was kind of cool. But kind of your freshman and sophomore years, like how did those play out? Like, did you just get a lot of experience, or
A ton of experience. Like I said, when I was in middle school, I wrestled and saw the Joe Carrs, the Ian Horns, the Chris Duns, the John Gentrys, the Josh Whitakers.
Yeah,
saw all of them. I was in the room with all of them, kind of sitting back,
right?
watching, getting my mat time in when I could, and getting that experience from Coach Carr. Michael Jackson, huge influence. That guy, when he graduated, came back, and if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't have been a state champion. We practiced. After practice, he got off of work. I finished my practice. He came in and beat the crap out of me. And just drilled me while Coach Carr sat over there and watched.
I believe that. 110%. I believe that. Now, in case you don't know, we have a memorial video on the channel for Michael Jackson. As of this filming, this is Monday. This is Labor Day 2022. We filmed Michael's memorial video on Saturday. And I know there was a lot of things you wanted to say about your friend Michael. So
yeah, I mean, Michael was one of the greats. I mean, one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen in the room. And then to come back and dedicate himself to the future of the program.
Right.
That's a big thing, and that's what a lot of us are trying to do now. Between myself, Little Rusty Parks, Cody Lewis, all of us, we're trying to get back into the program. And that's what he did. He came back, like I said, after he got off a day's worth of work. He came in that wrestling room and said, "Who's wanting to stay after? This is Champions Hour."
Champions Hour, I like that.
We have a practice. Now we have Champions Hour. Coach Carr would sit there and watch us and, pick out little things that needed to be fixed.
Right.
And go from those. And then, one of my best and worst moments was me and Michael were going at it, and he came at me, and I threw him. And Coach Carr actually got up and was like, "Oh!" And I was like, "Coach, don't do that." From that moment on, Michael's hands beat the crap out of my head.
I believe that.
And just wore me out.
I believe that.
So I was like, "You just upset this animal."
Yep. You just shook the hornet's nest.
Yes. I was like, I had one good move, and now you're going to make me pay for it.
Poking the bear, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right, so you come in, and you're the varsity starter in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And did you have to wrestle off that year? Would everybody kind of stay away from you, or how does that work?
Well, it wasn't staying away. It was making sure that people were in the right place for our team to win the state title.
That's a good. That's a good.
I cut
explanation.
weight. I did all that, and we put people in the right place where we thought starters should have been, and kind of went from there.
Now we'll kind of go ahead and allude to it here. You wrestle Nick Chafin in the finals, state finals, but you also wrestle Nick in the region finals.
And also at WCI in the quarters.
And so you wrestled the guy who's going to be in the state finals 3 times. Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, what was your record your junior year? Do you remember?
I don't. I think I had like 7 losses.
Okay.
5 to 7 losses. I'd gotten, what's his name from Fern Creek?
Hang on a second.
Josh Matthews.
Yeah.
First tournament of the year, pinned me in the second period.
Oh, my.
I mean, just dominated me on top, rode legs. Had me at my will. I mean, he stuck me. And so I had some work to do as far as my weight cutting, my training, all that stuff.
Right.
And the coaches got with me on a lot of that. And so by WCI rolls around, Nick talks about in his video, I'm going up against this guy from an unnamed school that I don't know anything about. And nor did I know he was a state placer the year before.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And I go in there and I wrestle my match, and I beat him pretty good. I think he said, 12-1 or something like that. Great match. Michael Jackson's in my corner.
Okay.
He's coaching me. He's fired up. And then I go on to wrestle a guy from Indiana who I beat in a very close match, which sets me up with a Josh Matthews match.
Okay. Before we kind of go too deep in the weeds, you win your district back when we had districts, right?
Yep.
It was District 7.
Yep.
It was the Lexington, Woodford, all this down there, and then we only had 4 regions back then, and the Region 8, Region 7 paired up, and that was the Eastern Kentucky. Johnson, Sheldon Clark, Wayne, Whitley, McCreary. It was a slaughterhouse of a region.
That's a tough region to come out of.
Very tough region, especially then was only 4.
I was gonna say 4 come out.
Was you've done something if you come out of that region. Yeah. So you win your district, you win the region, you wrestle Nick, and then we get to the state tournament. Do you visualize yourself like, I'm wrestling Nick again, knowing that you wrestled him twice? Okay, I'm going to see this guy again. He's on the opposite side of the bracket. Or is there anybody you'd kind of forecasted you're going to wrestle?
So, right after regions, that week you get a draw out of who you're going to wrestle, how the brackets are set up.
Right.
So Brad Strauss had beat Josh Matthews in their region. And so I had handled Brad Strauss pretty well at state duels. And I'm like, well, he just beat him. And then at WCI finals, I was really close with Josh Matthews. Mm-hmm. So I beat Nick in the finals of the region in an overtime match that could have gone either way. But now he gets put on the top side of the bracket. And on the bottom side of the bracket, I get stuck with Nathan Turpin, who I beat in overtime at the regional finals or semifinals. Mm-hmm. I get stuck with Josh Matthews, who had beaten me twice. Who's number 1. I get stuck with Nathan Thomas from Union County, who is ranked number 2 in the state, and I believe a 2-time state placer before that. I've got a tough road.
Yeah, and it's actually, let's kind of go over your state bracket here real quick. Now, this is 2001, 112 pounds. The first round, you're wrestling Patrick, we believe it's Keel from Trinity, and you win that by a fall in 5 minutes and 16 seconds. You go on to the quarters, you're wrestling Josh Matthews, and you said it was an overtime.
It's double overtime.
Double overtime, and it's got you winning 5-4.
Yeah.
So
I got an escape point. He chose top in double overtime. That's back when it was up or down. You choose. And he was a great leg rider. Usually controlled me on top. He chose top, and at that point I was peaking, and nobody was going to hold me down. I think I was up and out in about 5 seconds.
Wow.
So.
So it's, I guess, vindication from earlier in the year. He got you. Okay,
that was our third match together.
Son, well, and not really going to go into overtime procedures as opposed to now. I think the overtime procedures now are better to determine a winner. But back then, the overtime, it was tough.
You went 1 minute takedown. Neither one of us got it, and then it was whoever got the first takedown got the option of top or bottom. Mm-hmm. And he was a leg rider, was good on top. He chose top, and at that moment, I knew he's not holding me down.
Well, that's a good mentality to have. Hey, big boy, they may be your strength, but you're not keeping me down here. Then you alluded to it earlier. You wrestle Nathan Thomas from Union County, and I believe that's an 8-6 decision. Is what it says.
That's also overtime.
And it's also an overtime. Tell us the story about that one.
He beat the crap out of me. I think I've got a picture somewhere that he was up 6-3 in the third period. I mean, he was kind of wearing me out, but alluding to everything that I've been through with coaches getting on me about my weight, dieting, doing all that. I'd come back and my conditioning was top notch. I was ready for any kind of overtime match, whatever. And so third period comes with Nathan Thomas, and he's fatigued. I can tell. He's up 6-3, but he's tired. And so I start using this move that Coach Carr and I had worked on that Henry Clay did a whole lot of. It's called a cross wrist spin behind. And if a guy shoots a lazy shot, trying to hold on to a leg, buy some time, just pick that arm off, go around. They have nothing to block. They're tired. I hit him with a couple of those, and I'm pretty sure I hit him with that in overtime to win.
No kidding.
And so
wow.
It was conditioning all the way through. I'm not going to say I was the best technical guy, anything like that, but conditioning wise, I was peaking. I was.
And sometimes, and of course, you're a two-timer, and that's not. But some people just get hot at the right time in the state tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, they just do. I mean, they may have a mediocre season, make it, but get a lucky couple first rounds, get a little bit of confidence, and next thing you know, you're like, how in the world did this guy make it to the state? You know,
I can beat anybody at this point. Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I mean, I went from regionals, from overtime matches for semifinals, finals, and then went double overtime, final, overtime, and all my finals matches. 5 of my last 6 matches were overtime. Goodness.
Be glad you're conditioning. Be glad that Coach Parks and Coach Carr put you through the ringer. Then you get to the finals, and you're wrestling Nick Chafin from Prestonsburg. Now, before you cut your professional wrestling promo on Nick, before you wrestled Nick the first time, did you even know where Prestonsburg was?
No, I had no idea. At WCI, when I wrestled him in the quarters, no idea. Like I said, I didn't know he had placed 6th the year before.
Right.
Had no idea. I knew he was big. Like I said, I don't see how he said he bumped up.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that guy wasn't cutting weight. Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
But he was tough. I went out there and I wrestled my match. Like I said, I had Michael Jackson in my corner. And he was telling me push, push, push. And that's what I did. And then regionals hit. And it was a different match. I mean, we kind of had each other felt out and all that. And we knew each other's strengths, weaknesses. Try to stay away from them. So then state finals comes. After regional finals, I know I'm in for one. I mean, here we go again.
Now, do you remember, does your match finish before Nick's finals? Like, do you get to watch? Does he come, watch you as you're still going? Do you remember, From
his semifinals?
Yes, knowing who you're going to be facing in the finals?
No. I think his was done before mine because mine went into overtime. And at that point, I didn't care.
That's nuts. I mean, that's
I wrestled everybody on the top bracket that he was within. Billy Whitehouse, Brandon Worth. I'd wrestled him, Brad Strauss. I'd wrestled all of them. So I wasn't worried about it. It was just, I made it this far. I've beat a guy that's beaten me 2 times. So here we go. I'm hot. I'm ready to go.
I got you. Now, Nick's video has been on the channel for a while. Maybe a few things you want to kind of, all these years later, just let your inner Jim Cornette or your inner professional wrestler out. So all these years later, the floor is yours.
Nick was a great opponent. I mean, I kind of hoped I was going to wrestle him my senior year. He had some injuries and stuff like that. But, he did say that I was a no-name wrestler from Woodford County. And so I just... I'm going to let him know there's no such thing as a no-name wrestler from Woodford County.
Yep, and Nick, we love you, but he found out what your name was, right? You can always see it on the end of the bracket instead of his. Yeah. Instead of no name, it says your name.
It does.
So you're in the finals, and Woodford County's had up to that point, I don't know the exact number of state champions. Like I said, you got Coach Carr, Coach Parks, Michael Jackson, all these guys that are still around the Woodford County program. Does anybody come to you and give you a piece of Mr. Miyagi secret advice?
Michael had done that enough. I mean, between us wrestling after practice and doing all that, it was go to work.
Okay.
It wasn't. Don't hype yourself up. Don't do that. Relax. Just you've wrestled your match the way you need to wrestle your match.
I got you.
You don't let the opponent control the match. Go out there and wrestle your match. It wasn't. No, there was no hype. It was me just focusing. If I'd have taken second that year, I'd have still been happy.
I got you. Oh, I completely understand. Now, you were saying it's been a while since you've seen the 01 match, correct? Both of them, I guess.
I know how it ends. I've seen that, but Nick's brother Heath has sent me the video and watched it. I haven't dialed into it and
I got you.
Really focused on it.
I got you. Now, we have some memorabilia items we're going to let you guys see that I know that Tyler is really proud of. But before we get to that, when you're here, we've said in other videos, Woodford or Versailles to Frankfort isn't that far of a trip. I guess you guys graduate here, correct?
Yeah. Okay. I had family that lived down there.
That's what I was going to ask is you have a lot of, because social media didn't exist. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have FaceTime. All this. We couldn't tweet out, hey, I'm in the finals. So there's like a lot of phone calls get made from payphones to family to friends. How does that?
It was just kind of known that I was going to compete at the state tournament at the Fordham Dungeon, and there's, in my opinion, no better place that has
not even
ever
close.
hosted a state tournament.
Not even close.
I never went to Louisville, but that atmosphere in Frankfurt was
couldn't be topped.
Yeah, second to none.
Could not be topped. So we're gonna take a break just for a second, get the memorabilia out. We'll see you guys on the other side. Now, when you win districts back in 2001, before 2002, you had districts, regions, and then state. You get all kind of cool hardware. So we're gonna start off. Tyler, if you would show us what you got there, bud.
This is district and regional medals after mine and Nick's match. You can see his coach in the background, but these are both my golds from district and region from 2001.
And then you also have the Woodford County High School Varsity Wrestling 30 match winner. It says you won 37 matches in 2000-2001 season, which is pretty cool. A lot of guys have brought this out. These are pretty cool. These plaques that Woodford County
That's the match
gives.
with Josh Matthews. That's the double overtime match.
It's got Tyler Baldwin, 2001 Kentucky State Champion, 112 pounds, Woodford County High School. These are pretty cool that they hand those out. And we got some photos from the finals. Of course, you guys are going to see actual photos of this, but got from the state championship match. And then it's got your 2001 medal. Who's that with?
That's Eric Slogans right there.
Eric. Okay. And you guys are going to be seeing a video with Eric shortly. I don't want to block your face, but it's pretty cool. We got your medal, all three of your medals on, and I mean, it's cool that people keep stuff like this.
Yeah.
Pass it down to your little one.
Well, you saw him here
Oh
earlier.
yeah, he was here running
He's
around.
wild.
He's going to be, I guess, the next lineage of Woodford County wrestling.
Hope to.
But thank you for showing those. Of course, I love seeing those. Just that's part of doing this series is how much it means to people, how much it means to families, to communities, to maybe people that's passed on out of this life. You can still have, and like with this video series, especially with like Michael Jackson's memorial, Richard Brown's memorial, the video we done with for Brad Stafford from Sheldon Clark that passed away. It's just great that you have stuff like this and video series like this where people you maybe went to school with, people that you wrestled against, people maybe you work with. George King has my favorite line of the series so far, talking about his son when we filmed it was in 8th grade. Now he's a freshman. George King went into the Union County Hall of Fame, by the way, this past weekend. But he's like, maybe not now, but at one time, Dad could do it.
Well, that's why I coach youth programs, because my body's not built like it used to be.
Maybe not now, but at one time, Dad could do it. Now, we got the proof, and I'm sure, your little one probably won't sit down and watch it now, but in a couple years, it'll be,
He goes to practice with me.
Does he?
He's not allowed to be because he's not 5 yet, so he can't be in there, but he knows how to get in the stance.
Yeah,
do a
earlier he shot in and got on your leg, and was like, all right, my man's rolling. But it's good to be able to, maybe we don't want to live in the past, but go back and say, yep, I done this.
Right.
I did, hey, you better believe this was me. This was, a lot of hard work went into this.
Right.
I just didn't, luck my way into winning the state championship. I didn't just show up one day and say, hey, I'm at the state championship, I think I'm going to win it. No, it took years of
hard work and dedication, and that's what we try to teach all of our kids, whether it be youth, middle school, high school, anything. You get what you put in out of this sport.
Yep.
This is not 100%. A sport that you can walk into and just, bam, I'm going to be a superstar. You got to work. You got to put that hard time in, and there's some suffering that goes on, but it pays off.
And
so
one of the paradoxes about wrestling is, yes, it's, the most mano-a-mano sport that you can compete in scholastically, but you might be wrestling against, somebody else, but for the most part, if you don't win, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You didn't put the work in.
Yeah.
You didn't condition like you should have. You didn't hit the moves that and that's what brings out, I guess, the competitive juices. Is all these years later, you're just like, man, why didn't I hit that shot right there? Why didn't I?
That's one thing that I learned about being in 2 finals matches at this tournament was that I couldn't hear my coaches. They're on the corners over there. The lights are out.
Yeah.
The spotlight's on you. It's you and him, whoever you're wrestling.
Yep.
That's what it is. And if you lose that match, you shake the other guy's hand and he trained harder than you.
Yep.
Or he did something else better than you.
Right.
You can't blame anybody but yourself because you're the same weight, same class.
Yep.
And, your coaches have brought you this long, but they're just kind of sitting in the corner. To be honest, I mean...
And even as, as animated and as, I won't say loud as Coach Carr is, but, I mean, everybody knows Coach Carr's in the building. Everybody can hear him but you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I may have heard him and Coach Parks yelling a time or two, but it was basically me just wrestling my match.
I got you.
I mean, they did all this extra training with me and all this stuff that there was no sense that I shouldn't be able to go there and just do it.
I got you.
They can, if there's a timeout or something like that, they can throw a few pointers in there or whatever. But
right.
At that moment, you're in the moment. I mean,
I'm enough of us talking about it, man. I'm ready to put it on and let's watch it. Let's do it. You guys are seeing what we're seeing. We're at the Farnham Dungeon Center, and this video has the introduction or the face-off, I guess, if you will, the match, and it has the medal ceremony. We said it earlier. We're going to say it again. Best atmosphere the KHSAA ever put on was Under the Lights State Wrestling Finals at the Dungeon. Now, of course, the Dungeon no longer exists. Yes, we know that. But there's no reason why we can't still have Under the Lights venue, a podium. There's no reason why we can't. And also, this is my plug for if you have videos that we don't, because 2001 is a year, it was in the archive, but for some reason, it did not have the finals. It had the 3rd place match and 5th place, but it did not have the championship round. I don't know why that is. So we had to get this from Nick, and Nick and Heath both were, let me borrow it, convert it, so we can do the video today. And of course, Nick's video we done also has some of the clips from it. But if you have videos from state championships, years that I don't, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to take them, convert them, send them back to you, meet with you, whatever the case is. We just want to be able to tell more stories like we're doing today so we can get Kentucky wrestling out to more people and get more guys on the channel, man. Let's do this.
All right.
So you're standing backstage. Nick comes running out first. Under the lights, the whole arena's...
Everybody boos Woodford County.
Here you come out, trademark blonde hair.
And booed.
And booed out of the arena.
Yeah.
So you go over, you put the anklet on. Is that just a routine you had? Go over by yourself just for a second?
Michael Jackson did the same thing.
Yep.
Go over and think. Focus.
Wrestle. Now, of course, you wrestled him 2 times before. Mm-hmm. Did you kind of have like a secret weapon in your back pocket of I'm gonna try this because he didn't know how to block this or?
No, I just try to stance. I'm working hands. I'm moving. He's doing the same thing. I mean, at this point, we've filled each other out. This is just going to be a competitive match, and so, it's hard to beat somebody 3 times.
It is.
The same thing happened, and so I was kind of nervous about that because Josh Matthews had beaten me twice. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to our 3rd match, but I beat him. So now I've beaten Nick twice.
Right.
Now we're going for a 3rd time.
Okay, he just shot in, you blocked him.
Blocked him. I was really good on defense. Back out, center up.
Now, of course, you can see him across the way. You've got Coach Parks and Coach Carr.
Yeah.
And I think he's got Coach Jerry Butcher, and I'm not sure who's with him. I have to ask him.
Yeah.
Before. I think it might be Josh Stepp. Josh Stepp's a former state champion from
Sheldon Clark, yeah.
Most outstanding 1999.
No.
So we're about a minute in.
We're just filling each other out, man. I mean, there's a lot of hand fighting going on right here. He's taking some shots. I'm stuffing them. I'm just trying to. I know he's got a good sweep, and that's actually what. So I try to go front headlock there. There's just a lot of things going on, and we're both. I'm sure he's just like I've been beat by this guy twice.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? And so controlling tie-ups, elbows. Trying to find my moment where I can get a shot off. Really. So it's just, a lot of hand fighting right there. Look, going with the wrists, head control, elbow controls, things like that.
And I said it.
So he shuts it by.
I said it in Michael Jackson's memorial video, but I'll say it here too. Is Woodford County was ahead of the curve on like chain wrestling, wrist fighting.
Yeah. I just went for 2 arm drags right there, which is a good thing of mine. That's also hand fighting and the wrist control.
End of the period, 0-0.
Contact came out.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Said the heck with it.
Yeah. So it was your choice. Was you deferred?
Always defer.
Always defer.
Always defer.
Nick takes down.
Should.
Now,
as anybody should.
Yep. Now on top, do you know? Okay, he's good at this. He's
tough. He's just strong. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to keep him down, but I go ahead and cut him because I know I'm good on neutral. So I gave him his 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I have full confidence in my offense and my defense at neutral position. So
now it's not coming that loud through the microphone, but we're on the opposite side of the arena from Woodford County because this is filmed by Nick's dad, and you can still hear Woodford County's fan section cheering.
Oh yeah, we used to have a huge fan base. They used to let us out of school for state tournament days.
Wow. And
so, it was almost like a holiday. You can see me. I'm trying to put pressure, get him to the edge of the mat, maybe get a shot off. It's just we're hand fighting, head control, everything.
And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think this is South Oldham's mat.
It looks like their colors. Yeah.
I think it's either South Oldham or Western Hills. It's one of the two.
Could be Western Hills, yeah.
Because Western Hills right there in Frankfort.
But, you see both of us trying to get some fake shots. Mm-hmm. He gets one good there, but my stuff is good. Yeah. And that's what, getting right through there through the crotch, V'ing the knees, extending everybody out. It's just good defense, and that's what actually ends up winning me this match. And so, you can hear the Woodford crowd still going over everybody.
Yep.
And so, you got 5,000 people in there, or better.
I would say somewhere thereabouts.
And still Woodford County just being loud.
Everybody got their glow sticks and beating on the seats and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. My mom's up there in a bumblebee outfit.
Oh, is she really?
Oh yeah. So. Gets a good shot, so that's his sweep right there.
Yep.
He likes that outside. Head on the inside, going out, he's trying to step over.
Yep.
I get my block. That's what I keep getting, my block.
He's
trying
to stand up with it.
Yep. So see, still block off.
Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
It's a good shot.
Yeah.
Just, you got your 1, 2, 3, 4 counter defense on your legs where you go, and that's what Coach Parks always taught us. You go outside, inside, outside.
So end of the period, you take down, knowing you're down 1-0.
I'm gonna get an escape.
Thought he locked hands right there. It's close. Nick, what are you doing locking hands, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, we got 1.
Let him touch real quick. That'd be all right.
1-1.
1-1. Yeah, and then it's another hand fight and going at it. We're both trying to make things happen, get angles, do all this. I'm pushing here.
All right, so
he got called for stalling.
Backing out.
Yep. Yeah. I've tried to keep the pressure on him the whole match. So, he's done the same to me. It's just I circled.
Mm-hmm.
Going for underhook there, trying to block him off, get head position, but still trying to fight off over here on his other side because I know he wants that sweep.
Yeah.
There it is. Should snap him down right there, but didn't. But I'm still pushing in, circle in. Trying to get some level changes, but now we're stuck in. We're just both of us just hand fighting the whole time.
Yep.
I liked a good elbow tie on the outside right there. Set up my high crotch. See, he's going up for that head on the inside again. Arm drag attempt.
Yep, arm drag, nothing.
Another arm drag attempt.
Nope.
Try to keep it 2-on-1. See, he's
Yep.
going
Yep.
ahead. Now he's got head on the outside. And I got to see it. I've actually got a picture of this position right here.
Yeah, we just saw it, I think.
Crotch lock. Get my hips out. Push the head down right there. Try to get my legs back. Should have probably gotten 2 right here. But
Did you feel like, I just gave up a takedown right there? Any of that sequence?
No, not in that sequence, no. Once I got the crotch lock and then got my hips back out. So see right here, he's doing the same thing, hit on the inside.
Yep.
And I end up, bang. Watch, see I'm blocking his leg from stepping around.
Yep.
And now I hip in, bang. Now I lift and hook, and that's match. 3 points of control.
Yep.
So
That's it.
still hear the boos from everybody.
And that was in overtime.
Yes.
Yep, that was in overtime. You got it. There you go, facing the.
Yeah.
Shake hands. Good match. Good wrestling. You run off.
I mean, like I said, we both.
There's Coach Parks, high five.
Coach Carr with the lift.
Coach Carr picks you up.
Yeah.
Good wrestling.
So.
Now it also has the medal ceremony here, and let's get this medal back out. And this is the same medal that you were awarded on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
There's Thomas from Union. And was that Matthews from Fern Creek right there?
Yes, sir. And so that's kind of one thing I'm really proud of is that all 5 of those other guys on the podium I wrestled that year.
Yeah, that's.
And so.
There you are, man, on top of the world. Now you got the medal right there, your bracket. Of course, this is Nick's family, so.
Yeah.
He's a beast at 112 pounds.
Yeah.
It's like Brock Lesnar out there.
I was going to say, I mean, that guy has legs like tree trunks.
Yeah.
I mean. But no, it was a great moment knowing that I had pretty much gone through the gauntlet and had a really tough road to get to the top of that podium. But I loved every second of it. I embraced it. I embraced the grind,
right?
As they say. And that's one thing the younger generation needs to learn about wrestling is that it's not always fun.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough battle, and if you put in the work and you sacrifice and do all that, it will pay off for you.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah. There's no doubt about that. Now, I haven't asked any Woodford. I was driving down here today and I was thinking about this. Like, when you guys went to the state tournament, did you, from Woodford County, did you like stay in Frankfort? Did you drive back home to your house?
Drove back home.
Okay,
that night. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But we always usually had a bus ride with a police escort back home as state champions.
I believe that.
So we had a lot of those coming back home Saturday nights.
Yep. And that was a lot of guys there in Frankfort. You know, they said, and even a couple of guys in Louisville have said that, you know, they would go home, take a nap, shower, get something to eat at their own house, drive back to Atherton. Like you guys would, you know, come home, maybe shower.
Well, it depends on how your bracket goes. I mean, if you get beat and you got to stay there for consolations and all that, I mean.
Well, I guess going into the finals. Let me clarify that.
Okay.
Going into the final, because you know you've got that pretty good.
I stayed in the stands and
really?
watched my wrestlers wrestle and all my teammates and all that. I mean, I might have taken a little nap and had a little snack, but no. I mean, as far as that goes, I stayed at the building all day. Might have gone over to the Holiday Inn once or twice to walk around, but no. If my guys were wrestling, I was there supporting.
I got you. No, that's cool. Anything about your 2001 season we didn't cover because pretty much wrapped it up.
Just, I'm proud to be a Woodford County wrestler. We're still trying to keep the tradition going.
Right.
I coach a youth program that anybody is welcome to come to. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just try to keep everybody on the up and up. You know, I mean, we want Woodford to keep going. Obviously, Union County has done their thing. we want to still be competitive, and things that wrestling teaches off the mat are very important. Discipline, hard work, being respectful to your mom, dad, teacher, all that stuff. It's a thing that we try to teach all the way around, and just produce good people into the community.
No, so. And that's and the Woodford County, legacy, the Woodford County dynasty, speaks for itself. 13 team state champions. I don't know. I think there's like 50 some individual champions.
More than that.
Well, what the billboards or the posters in Woodford County's restrooms got all the state players on one side, got all the state champions on one side. For some reason, I was thinking maybe I've met with so many guys.
But you got ones that are 1 time, 2 time,
3
time, 4 time.
You got a couple 4-timers. If I can ever get up with Harrison Courtney, we got his 2007. I was supposed to meet with him today, but at Scoundrels in Tennessee, I told him he'd have to come to the Hills and meet with me, because I've been down here about 25 times to meet with him, so he'd have to come to my house. Maybe we'll do a gun video together. But Woodford County, the Yellow Jacket tradition, the Yellow Jacket pride runs deep. Everybody across the state knows. I mean, you kind of said it, but I know it. Unions took over the overall team title just by 1. For now, it's the battle has been won on that end, but the war's not over. Well,
and it's all about making Kentucky wrestling better.
Exactly.
I don't like that they've taken over that title of most team titles, but they've got a lot of good wrestlers, and that betters Kentucky wrestling, and that's the end game.
And what's cool about Kentucky is we're so, the state is so long. You've got your Union counties going to like Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, all the west. Knocking out the western part of the Midwest. Then you've got like your Riles, your Simon Kentons, all the northern Kentucky going to Ohio, Indiana, going over to Pennsylvania sometimes. And you've got like your Johnson Centrals going to like Ohio, West Virginia, Tennessee, pretty much cleaning them out. You've got your Lexington, Woodford County area schools traveling maybe just wherever
we can. We're central, so it's a trip wherever we go.
And you're always seeing Kentucky teams on top of the podium, winning team titles, and regular season tournaments or whatever. So like Johnson and Woodford, Johnson and Union, Woodford, unless it's just state duels, very rarely do you see each other at state duels, or unless it's at state tournament.
Yeah.
So you got Union wrestling the western part of the state, Johnson wrestling the eastern part in the West Virginia and all that area. They hardly ever meet. Then you've got Woodford in the center, and you guys really see each other.
That's what happened my junior year. I mean, Josh Matthews, we saw each other a couple times at certain tournaments, but I never saw Nathan Thomas. I saw Nick Chafin once, at WCI because they came that year.
Right.
Saint X, we'd see at a few tournaments, but South Oldham, all those guys. It's not a weekly thing like a dual meet.
Right.
You don't see them all the time. It's just, everybody tries to get in position to peak at the end of the season.
Yep.
And you find out where you are at the end of the season.
And I think that's a good place to end this video. Now, 2-time state champion. This is the 2001. We're getting ready to film the 2002. It'll be below this one in the playlist. You guys need to, of course, go watch that one, because there's little part about we're going to talk about where it changes from districts and regions to just regions. And you're one of the very few people that won a state championship in the 16-man and the 32-man.
32-man, yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about that before we go, or in the next video, I should say. So that's all we got for this one. We'll see you guys in 2002.